Last episode, I said that left one feature, one number, and one verdict this series promised to execute. So here it is. In episode 1, a support inbox got a reply suggester. A ticket arrives, the machine drafts an answer, a human agent decides. Since then we have specced it, read it, oracled it, tested it, evaluated it, budgeted the reviewing of it, written its kill criteria down before we knew anything, priced the next 2 weeks of it, and raced 3 versions of it. Everything this series taught, it taught on that one small feature. And the criteria we wrote in episode 9 come due now, on air, whichever way they land. Before the verdict, the thing the verdict is for. 11 technique sounds like 11 things to remember. It is not. It is one loop with 3 moves, and the moves have not changed since episode 1. Say precisely what should exist. Know what correct looks like before you go and look. Then decide, with a number, whether the thing should keep existing. Intent, verification, value judgment. The last series argued that AI promoted those 3 from part of the job to the whole job. This one has been training them, one technique at a time, and the techniques are not the point. The loop is the point, and the loop is the job. So watch it run, once, end to end, on that one feature. It starts with a page. Goal, non-goals, edge cases, examples, acceptance checks, and the non-goals did the heaviest lifting, never sends, never promises a refund, routes legal threats instead of drafting them. Then the adjectives leaked, the way adjectives do, so helpful and on-brand got pinned to rows. A typical ticket, an edge, and a counterexample marked never this. Then the parts that were still guesses about people got probed. 3 throwaway suggesters, 2 real agents, 1 morning of real tickets, and the surprise that changed the design. They do not want to approve drafts, they want to edit them. That page is a promise about the world, and promises get checked. The first generated version got read against its claims rather than its style, which is how we found redaction running after the logging, with card numbers reaching the logs. Then the claims became an oracle, written without mentioning the implementation. Then one of those sentences got armed as a property, no output token may ever match a card number pattern. Then a harness. 50 real tickets, cheap assertions first, a judge only where judgment was actually needed, and the judge itself measured against 2 humans until it agreed. And then a budget, because you cannot check everything. Redaction, Tier 1. Drafting, Tier 2. Dashboards, exempt, in writing. And then the question none of that answers. Should this exist at all? Episode 9 ran the pre-mortem, converted it into states and dates, and wrote 3 criteria down while the answer was still unknown. Acceptance or light edit at or above 62% 0 Tier 1 Oracle violations on the redaction path, no exceptions. Judge and human agreement holding at 90% Episode 10 priced the next 2 weeks against a competing use of the same 2 weeks, and conceded on air that this whole feature is worth less than a better search box. Episode 11 raced 3 versions of it and kept exactly 1. That is the loop. Now it closes. The verdict. Same 50 tickets, same harness, same rubric, nothing changed about the grading. Criterion 1, acceptance or light edit at or above 62%. It comes in at 37 of 50. 74%, against a bar of 62. And it sits under the 42 of 50 ceiling Episode 10 put on the grounding work, which is what a ceiling is for. Criterion 3, judge and human agreement at 90% 45 of 50, unmoved, so the first number still means what it says. 2 criteria out of 3, cleared comfortably. If it stopped here, this would be the episode where the thing we built worked. Criterion 2. 0 Tier 1 Oracle violations on the redaction path, no exceptions. 1. One draft in 50 carried a real order reference belonging to a real customer who had never written in about that ticket. And the redaction suite is green. It is still mutation tested, it still kills every mutant we can plant in it, and the property still holds for every input it was written about. That is the part worth sitting with. Nothing failed. The test was not wrong, the code was not wrong. The oracle was violated anyway, because the oracle was written about the ticket, and this data never arrived as a ticket. It arrived in the prompt. Last episode, Variant A won that race by putting 5 work drafts into the prompt, pulled from real tickets outside the golden 50. Real tickets carry real customers. Those 5 examples were never routed through redaction, because redaction runs on incoming tickets, and nobody had ever thought of a prompt as an input. So the boundary had a hole in it that was not on the ticket path at all. And a model shown a real reference 5 times will eventually produce one. Read that chain again, slowly. The change that made this thing good enough to keep is the change that killed it. The option that won is the thing that fires the kill. So the criterion fires, and there is nothing to weigh. 0, no exceptions, agreed while no result existed. Not a threshold to haggle over on the day. So the suggester is killed. Named, dated, criterion 2, the number beside it, learnings written down, code archived rather than buried. And I want to be honest about what that costs, because a kill that costs nothing teaches nothing. That is a harness that took a week, a redaction suite somebody was proud of, and a version that genuinely got better at the job. Nobody wanted this outcome. Every person executing it is a person who built it. That is the difference between a protocol and a preference. So, all 11, in one breath, because at speed you can hear that they are one thing. The spec before the prompt, 1 page, 5 headings. The example table, because rows are checkable and prose is not. The probe loop, 3 throwaways aimed at your own ignorance. Claims first reading, the claims written before the difference opens. The oracle statement, what correct looks like without naming the implementation. Mutation thinking, break it on purpose and demand read. The minimal evil stack, golden set, assertions, a judge with measured agreement. The risk-tiered review budget, exemptions declared rather than discovered. The pre-commitment stack, states and dates, hardest assumption first. Cost of delay, light, pricing options, and never picking winners. And the portfolio protocol, criteria before results, kills in the open. 11 names. 1 loop. Now the part 1 actually want. Tell me where this failed you. Not whether you liked it, where it broke. Which technique did not survive contact with your code base, your team, your compliance officer, your Tuesday? The last series ended by writing down what would prove it wrong, on the grounds that being wrong in public is cheaper than being vague in public, and this one inherits that. So here is the claim, stated so it can be shot at. These 11 techniques are the working form of the 3 skills AI promoted, and running them as one loop beats running any of them alone. The strongest objections get their own episodes, answered honestly or conceded outright. So, the self-check, and it is the whole series in one sitting. Run the loop once, on something real. 1 spec, 1 oracle, 1 kill criterion, 1 verdict executed. Not for techniques, 1 lap. The exercise is that lap, on the smallest thing you own, and small is the right size, because a loop you have run once is a loop you will run again. The artifact is the assembled workflow 1-pager, every technique on 1 page, all 11 episodes linked under it. And you will know it worked the first time you stop something early, cheaply, and nobody has to have the argument. The tooling changed twice while we were making this, and not one of these techniques moved. The scaffolding changes. The rock does not. Stand on it, and then tell me where I am wrong. Next, the pushback.